G'day, I'm in Hawaii at the moment on the island of Maui, and today's video I'm going to take you lobster diving. I'm going to go free diving and catch some lobsters by hand, which is the best way to catch them, I think. I'm going to head out there to those outer reefs and see what we can find. You may remember Graham and Nick from back in episode 23 where we found a 1 metre flathead in Australia. Now we're on their home turf and the boys are going to show us a thing or two about catching lobster. The water was insanely clear. How good's this little keyhole? Sick. First dive in Hawaii for a very long time. It's been, I don't know, 6 years since I've been here. Let's see how it goes. The spear guns aren't for the lobster. We're taking those just in case we see a big fish, but the main reason we're taking them is in case a tiger shark turns up and we need to defend ourselves. We spend a lot of time looking in caves trying to find lobster. Graham's found a pretty good one. Actually, it's a huge one, right up the back of that cave. I don't even see how you could get up there and possibly grab that thing. But Graham has a little bit of a plan. He thinks it's got a back door that it's going to run out of, and if he can go up there and scare it, then perhaps Nick can go around the other side and grab it.
Thing's big.
Fatty.
Really big.
I'll spook it out of the hole.
Graham heads in to try and scare the lobster out. Meanwhile, Nick's on the other side, seeing if he can catch it if it tries to escape through the back door.
He shot around the corner. I don't know if it has an opening over here.
It disappears into a crevice, so the boys continue to look for lobster in all sorts of nooks and crannies of the reef. It takes a lot of persistence because almost every hole doesn't have a lobster in it. I always get scared when Graham disappears under these caves and then he just emerges out of the reef in some other position. It's pretty mind-blowing to watch. But I am concerned, so I do watch the boys pretty closely, just in case I have to jump in and pull them out of the cave. The boys have found a pretty good honey hole. This is a spot that's got a number of lobster and they're accessible and easy to catch. Well, I wouldn't say easy. Maybe easy for these boys, but not easy for your normal human being. First, the boys dive down and try to get an understanding of where the lobster are and how they're going to move. Then they strategize and work together as a team. There's quite a few lobster in this hole. Look at that one, scurrying along. The interesting thing about these lobster is they behave really differently to the ones in Sydney. They move a lot more. You go near them and they start to move, they start to scurry. boys work together to catch the lobster. Much easier with teamwork. Graham's got a beautiful male lobster.
You see the small little swimmerettes? That's a male. And you see the pinstripes? How
Yeah.
the white lines are really small
Yep.
and the legs are mostly dark?
Yep.
Male.
Okay.
You can only keep the males and have to let go the female lobster.
2.5, 3 pounder.
Nice.
Pounder.
Perfect.
Graham understands how to identify the lobster based on their swimmerettes, but also based on the lines on their legs. There are several lobster in this hole, and the boys are working together to try and strategize how they can catch them. Graham disappeared into some crevice in the ledge and pulled out this male lobster. Another beautiful one which he shows is a male by its swimmerettes and by the markings on its legs. Well, there's 2 in the bag.
I think we can get the other one out.
Not a bad start. But this hole has some more surprises. There's plenty more lobster in there to get, and the boys continue to work together to get them out.
You know what? Let me go on your side because I have a longer reach. I'm going to stick my hand in. Yeah. He'll shoot out the side that I've been catching. He's there. I can see his dark legs. He's definitely a big male. He's like a 3.5-pound male.
Diving in this way where you're holding your breath takes a lot of timing. The boys are working together in an amazing way to be able to pull out some huge lobster out of the reef. Nick with an absolute massive one, thanks to Graham scaring it into his hands. The skill that it takes to catch these lobster can't be understated. The boys are making it look really easy, but I guarantee you, 9 out of 10 people who went out here would not catch a
That's the one.
lobster.
There's one behind it though too.
We've got a few family around and we're starting to pull together a few lobster for a feast.
The one behind it should be a female. From here all the way down there.
Graham's found a swim-through cave. This cave is something that you can swim through with one breath from one side to another. It looks a little bit daunting in the beginning, so I just wanted to go down and check it out and start to plan it. I definitely don't want to get stuck underneath this cave in the reef. Nick takes the first dive, leading the way. The boys tell me that sometimes the lobster like to wedge themselves up on the roof of this cave. So I'm having a look. But not this time. Phew, made it through the cave. The boys continue to search the reef for lobster, diving under every nook and cranny that they can find. Nick finds a couple of octopus, or taco as they're called in Hawaii. They're under the legal size limit, so the boys let them go. Nick grabs the spear guns and lobster, and we move on to the next zone. Graham's found a pretty good crack, but the lobster are too deep.
Move on.
Graham finds a good hole and another good lobster.
Go for it, right there.
I dive down to take a look, but scare the lobster back deeper in the cave, so decide to hand it off to an expert.
You can get it around, but it wedges itself up in the back on the left.
I've been diving with Graham for over 20 years now, and I remember the first few times about 20 when I was watching him like this under caves and just really worried about him blacking out. I still do today, so I just watch him and make sure that if he's going to get in trouble that I can swim down there and pull him out of the cave. But he knows what he's doing. He doesn't push his limits.
Female.
Another female lobster that we need to let go. Mid-dive, and sometimes I just want to sit back and sit on the bottom, watch the fish swim by, chill out for a moment and just enjoy being out on the reef. Such a beautiful place. Graham's found a lobster by looking through the holes in the reef. See the little antennae sticking out right there? Graham dives down under the ledge and tries to find it. But it's a female and we need to move on.
Female.
Graham finds another lobster in a deep hole, and we're starting to get a bigger and bigger bag of lobster. This is a pretty cool little zone. Really craggy reef with lots of caves in it. Graham finds a whole bunch of lobster.
Get your torch, there's like 6 lobsters in there.
I dive down with my torch to take a look and just to show you what it looks like underneath there. It's much easier to see with a torch, for the cameras anyway. We usually let our eyes adjust See that lobster there, hanging on the top of the roof? I'm pretty much upside down at the moment. I'll get in a little bit closer. There's that big one there, and then there's another one up the back, and there's another one close in the foreground. There's at least 3 in that hole, maybe 4. Some in that other hole too. It's a pretty good little zone.
Right?
That guy pushed himself way in.
Yeah, that one went way out the back. There was a big one just there, and then I should have just gone for it. I was too busy thinking about filming it.
The boys continue to explore different zones in the search for another male lobster. Graham finds another female and lets it go. He's also spotted another lobster.
You know, there's another lobster right here.
The waves are pushing us over the reef at the moment. It's starting to get bigger, so we keep getting dragged from one spot to another. We have to hold on to the reef to make sure that we don't get ripped off it by the waves. Graham always disappears and emerges from different areas of the reef. I never know where he's going to come from.
I can push him out from that side. You just watch the front door.
I think Nick's got some synchronized swimming skills that he hasn't told us about. Perhaps he's going to go for a gold medal in the next Olympics. Oh, Graham's found another female. This one's in berry, so like all females, he has to let it go. It's got a huge amount of eggs. They're going to turn into lots of little tiny lobster which will grow up and populate the reef. Nick's trying to find if there are any males nearby, but there aren't, so he collects the gear and it's time to start heading in. Back over the sand flats, we find a massive anchor. A huge bag of lobster. Say hi to a turtle quickly. Important to keep your distance if you see them. And back up on land again. What an epic dive. Always worth the effort. Back to base, and we've got a good bag of lobster. We're going to cook up a tasty feed with these. Catch you next time.